I got my first paying gig when I was 15. And in the beginning, I had some incredible mentors and teachers that really helped teach me things that aren't taught in drum lessons, like just good people skills. And turns out these are the things that keep you getting hired over a long period of time. Some of these I learned from mentors and teachers, some of them I learned on the gig, and some of them I actually learned by not getting a call back or getting let go from a gig. So if you find yourself not getting any gigs, or you find yourself not getting called back after every gig, or if you just want to get gigs in the future, here's some things that would be really good for you to pay attention to. The first one is really key. It's play the long game. What does that mean? What does play the long game mean? The short game is where you just want that check, that money right now. You want as much as you can get out of it right now. And that's all good and well. But when you go above and beyond, that is playing the long game. So some examples of this would be doing things on the gig that you were not originally asked to do, doing things before they're asked of you, assuming responsibilities on the gig before they're asked of you. Another example of this would be taking a lower paying gig for the hopes of them calling you back for some higher paying gigs, or taking a lot of free gigs in the hopes of getting some paid gigs out of it. I've taken a ton of free stuff over the course of my career just to get to those paying gigs. Now, once you're on a gig for a while, should you keep doing all of these extra things without getting paid? No. If you're doing the responsibilities of a road manager, if you're doing the responsibilities of a band leader consistently, you need to have a talk with their management about that, or the artist. But come on, whenever you first come on, whenever you first get a gig, you really need to be going above and beyond to show them, hey, I'm gonna put in the extra work. And then later, whenever you say, hey, all this extra work I've been putting in, yeah, it's a lot, they have no problem with paying you for it. The second one, I can't stress enough, you've got to be a good hang. What does a good hang mean? This is kind of one of those esoteric out there, what's a good hang, what's a bad hang? Really, it's just overall having a good attitude about things, knowing how to treat people correctly, knowing how to conduct yourself in conversations, knowing how to be professional, knowing what certain people's likes and dislikes aren't. When you're a good hang, it's just that. People like being around you. And if you go on a gig, if you go out on the road, people are gonna be around you a lot, whether you're just playing some clubs in town or whether you're going on a 3 or 4 month tour. And here's two really divisive subjects that if you're at a party or a gig or anywhere, be careful about how you bring them up. And that is politics and religion. Here's the deal. If you're having to shove your viewpoint down someone's throats by berating them in a conversation with all of your beliefs, there's a problem. The best thing you can do is live your philosophy. Actions speak way louder than words. You don't need to beat people over the head by telling them all of your philosophies and beliefs in life. You should be living that. That's what's going to show them whatever your viewpoint is. You don't have to tell them then. The third thing is know the material. Know the material. Know it inside and out. Rehearsal is not a place for you to learn the song. Rehearsal is a place for the band to come together and work out any issues that may be in the song. You learn the music outside of rehearsal. One of my biggest pet peeves is people showing up unprepared for rehearsal, not knowing lead lines, not knowing their parts, not knowing song forms. I get it. Every now and then there's going to be questions about, hey, when it goes to the bridge, what are we doing there? That's all good. That's what rehearsal's for. It's the structure of the tune. It's working out, hey, I know they did that on the recording, but this actually doesn't work live. Or I know whenever we recorded this, that's what happened, but when we do it live, we do it a little bit faster and that just doesn't work. That's what those conversations are for. But you have to know the source material. Do not show up to a rehearsal or a gig and not know the material. I guarantee you won't get called back. This fourth one you would think would be just kind of common sense, but sometimes it's not. You got to be a competent player. So if you get hired for a jazz gig, you should be able to play jazz. If you get hired for a funk gig, you should be able to play funk. A rock gig, you should be able to play rock. Don't take gigs that are way beyond your skill level and that you're going to, going into it, fall on your face. You need to be a competent player for whatever the gig's calling for. So that really has to do with the practice room, getting your playing together in the practice room so that whenever you show up, that is already. To me, in my professional life, the playing is a given. It's almost like an understood. It's an unspoken. If you show up for that gig and they hired you, they assume that you can play the material. The rest is what I'm talking about in this video. The fifth thing is following up. Now, what is this? I believe a lot of my success in my early career, I got my first full-time gig when I was 19, and I'd been gigging up to that point, but I finally got my first full-time gig when I was 19. And part of that for me was I would just follow up. Band leaders, I tried to let them understand that I'm not a needy player, but I wanted to do my best. I wanted to serve you, support you however you need it. Part of that is following up. If you get called for a gig, contact that person the next day, whether that be by text or phone call or email, and just say, hey, really enjoyed playing with you. I just wanted to know, was everything comfortable for you? The next time we play together, is there anything I could look for to do better that would help you perform better? This is huge for people. 9 times out of 10, there won't be anything. But that one time, they'll give you some constructive criticism, and the next time you go on the gig, they're gonna be looking for that. And if you nail that one thing, whatever that is that's so important that they brought it up and mentioned it to you, I guarantee you're gonna begin to be one of their go-to players for gigs. Following up can also be just fostering a relationship. If you sit in with a band the next day, if you've got one of their numbers, text them and say, hey, can I take you to coffee? Can we go to lunch? My treat, I just wanna hang out. Getting to know them beyond the gig, and so letting them know that you're not just interested in what they can do for you, you're actually interested in being a contributing part of their life, of their professional life, of their gigging life. The sixth thing is be early. If you're on time or if you are late, you're late. On time in my book is late.
And if you wish to remain here, you better start believing in being on time.
And as a drummer, we need to get there even more early because we have more to set up. Here's the deal. On time does not give you the time to set up all of your stuff so that you're in place, ready for downbeat. I don't want to get there for sound check and not have my stuff set up for sound check. Sound check's for me to troubleshoot. So I want to be there early. And you might be like, Steven, there's another band playing before. Good, get there, listen to that band, and as soon as they're off the stage, get your stuff up there. I'm telling you, on time is late in my book. You have to be early for the gig to be prepared to play your best. And as well, I'll just tell you, from a band leader standpoint, I've led a lot of bands. This is just, it's a weight off their shoulders. If they show up and you're there before them, you're like, oh, okay, I do not have to worry about that guy being here. Guitar player, gotta worry about him, but not this guy. And I'm telling you, that goes a long way with them. The seventh thing is, don't complain, don't be that person. This all really goes back to being a good hang, but don't be a complainer. I know specifically one player here in town, a couple of players here in town, that I've heard from multiple players that the reason, and we're talking about large artist gigs, the reason they didn't get called back or that they got let go was because they complained all the time about the food, about the venue, about the lodging, about the bus, about the pay. They were always complaining, and it wouldn't be necessarily to the band leader. They would be complaining to the other players. But let me tell you something, this is like a family when you're out there. And if you're the one that's sowing discord amongst all these people, guess who's the one that's gonna be plucked out? You're gone, okay? So whenever you go out, whenever you're on a gig, don't complain about everything. Have a positive viewpoint, and then find some buddies that you can complain to after the gig that are not related to that gig. Number 8, you gotta seek to serve. You gotta seek to serve the music. You gotta seek to serve the other players. You gotta seek to serve the crew. Whatever you can do to help serve people, that is going to give them a positive viewpoint of you. And it just helps the gig overall. And this goes back to that whole follow up, asking for that critique, being a good hang. Okay, if there is something that you're doing that is bothering another person, whether that be musically or personally, stop it. Okay, if you want the gig, if it's not a big deal, seek to serve those people. If somebody needs some help setting up, if you're seeing that the crew's having some trouble turning out, like, jump in there. Show them that you're willing to go above and beyond. Should you do double jobs all the time? No, I've already said that. But the point is that you should be looking to seek to serve. We have to have that relationship where we're all seeking to serve each other on the gig. It just makes for a better environment. The ninth thing is network, 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 network. All right, your network is your net worth, and that's a cheesy saying, but it is very, very true. You need to be out there meeting people. If you go on a gig and there are 4 people you don't know, by the end of that evening, you should have 4 names, 4 phone numbers, 4 email addresses. You should be looking at their socials, linking up with them as much as you can, getting in their range of view. You really never know which one of those leads may lead to another gig. So again, network. Don't just worry about the band leader. Worry about the band too. Become a contributing part of that, and as well, be sure you have all their numbers before you leave the gig. And this 10th one is kind of a little bigger, harder to define, but look, don't bring drama to the gig. Here's the deal, drama, nobody wants it. Don't bring your bad day. Don't bring your, bad relationship. Don't talk about how so-and-so said something about social media. Don't talk about how you don't have any money. Don't be that person. Look, leave your personal life at home, all right? Whenever you come to the gig, whether it's a gig for fun or whether you're getting paid for this, you really do not need to bring drama to that situation. One of the best things one of my early teachers, Jeff Mills, told me whenever I got the gig on Bourbon Street, he actually got me the audition. I went and I had to sit for like 5 hours. They were having sound problems, and so I finally got up to sit in. They offered me a gig, and I think I was making like $550 a week plus tips. I was playing 5 nights a week, so like 25, 30 hours of playing. You might as well say I'm making $1 million because that's what it was to me. And that was in New Orleans. We were walking back to the car, and I think he was more excited than I was. He's a fantastic player, and he was playing in the night band opposite me. So I would get done, and then he would play, so I got to stay and listen to him. And one of the things he told me that I've always remembered, I can almost feel what the temperature was. I can see what the clouds look like it was one of those just like, and he told me, he said, Steven, here's the deal, you're an entertainer and nobody cares what kind of day you had. When you step on that stage, you are an entertainer. When you step on that stage, you have a responsibility because those people spent their hard-earned money. They've been at their jobs all week, and they're coming out to be entertained. They have paid money to see you play, and it is your responsibility to give them a show. I can't tell you the number of times that has influenced how I am on stage. Whether I'm sick and throwing up in the bathroom on the breaks, or whether I've had a bad day, I'm always trying to bring my best to the stage. There's a separation. There's the steps to the stage, and then there's the rest of the world. And when you hit those steps, you are a performer, you are an entertainer, and you leave all that stuff away so that you can do your job and so that those people get what they paid for. They paid to come out and see you play. You owe it to them to give them a show. So if you find yourself not getting called back, if you find yourself not getting gigs, if you find yourself wanting to get gigs, hopefully these 10 things will help you get more of that. Leave me a comment in the comment section. Let me know what your biggest tip for getting a gig or what your biggest tip for not getting fired from a gig is. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. New videos coming every week. As well, ding that notifications bell. Hit that thumbs up button if this has helped you. Share it with somebody that you think it may help. If you need some help with your drumming, I'd love to have you in the Drum Better Daily program. The link for that's in the video description here. But whatever you do, I'll see you here in the next video.